What's old is new again. If you've been following this channel or a fan of Blackberry, you'll know that RIMs have made somewhat of a significant change in terms of their business model in recent years, moving away from the hardware keyboard-equipped handsets that made them the namesake in the 90s and 2000s, and more towards software and security and other things. And while this paradigm shift seemed to be good news for investors as it seemed to signal a value-driven change in the direction of the company, many long-time Blackberry enthusiasts were fearful that this signaled the end of their beloved physical keyboard handsets. Sure, there were some other manufacturers, few and far between, that offered physical keyboards on their phones, but nothing has really come close to the classic Blackberry typing experience that die-hard fans will swear by. There's just something about the combination of work and productivity centered around a phone with a physical keyboard that go hand in hand. And so, this seemed to be the general direction of RIMs for the past 1 or 2 years, as BlackBerry had recently dissolved their licensing agreement with TCL to manufacture Blackberries. And after that announcement broke, most people had written off BlackBerry's mobile handset segment, and thought that RIMs would be focusing more on security and car automation. And they were actually having some success in those fields, and people following the company thought their stock was beginning to rebound. And the impression was that BlackBerry had moved entirely out of the mobile handset market, with their last phone being the BlackBerry Key 2 LE. While all of this was going on though, there was still an enduring popularity and loyalty with the BlackBerry brand. People were still very vocal about this loyalty and enthusiasm, and this was evident in various communities across the internet. And maybe this is one of the reasons why RIMs has decided to revive its handset segment. As much as phones and virtual keyboards have evolved over the years and generations, there's still a loyal, die-hard fan base of people who prefer typing on physical keyboards, particularly a BlackBerry one. And if you're like me and are a die-hard BlackBerry fan that have been using BlackBerry since the early 2000s, I'm sure you're still not comfortable typing long emails or documents on an all-glass keyboard, no matter how refined and advanced. Which is what makes this announcement from BlackBerry all the more exciting. It's proof that RIMs understands the legacy and support that they still enjoy, and the fact that this phone is promised to be powered by Android shows that RIMs understands the market and how Blackberries have evolved relative to the smartphone marketplace. In fact, a lot of people would argue is that what led initially to the downturn of BlackBerry devices was that it was somewhat behind the industry in terms of the adoption of Android apps and Android as an operating system as a whole. So it's quite reassuring that RIMs has promised their newest device to be running Android. So this brings us to the actual device itself, as BlackBerry has again opted to license its hardware manufacturing out to a third party. There's generally two camps on this subject of licensing. There are those that would argue that the build quality and design of the TCL Blackberries, namely the BlackBerry Key 1 and the Key 2, simply did not live up to the standards of the previous Blackberries. BlackBerry, of course, has built itself up as a quality handset maker, emphasizing quality and reliability. When the initial TCL handsets came out, there were concerns about the flex on the back of the BlackBerry Priv, as well as other quality issues on subsequent phones, such as the screen popping out initially on the first batches of the BlackBerry Key 1. So of course, those people that fall within this camp are now concerned again about quality now that BlackBerry is again choosing to outsource its hardware manufacturing to a third party. And then there are those in the other camp who think there are a lot of upsides with having BlackBerry license out their manufacturing to a third party. Having a third party handle the designs on the BlackBerry has its advantages. I thought that the designs on the Key 1 and the Key 2 were quite innovative, as there were no other phones on the market with that kind of form factor. The 4.5-inch screen size and the combination of the 4-row physical keyboard on the Key 2, in my opinion, was a great evolution of the BlackBerry form factor, and hope it's continued in some shape, way, or form on the upcoming 5G BlackBerry. Having too large of a screen on the modern BlackBerry would likely make for an uncomfortable transition between the keyboard and the screen, so I think that the 4.5 inches, like on the BlackBerry Key 2, was a great fit for someone accustomed to typing on a physical keyboard and switching to a touchscreen. So I hope that this new manufacturing partner also means that there are going to be strong evolving designs on the new BlackBerries, and I'm optimistic that we'll see a new take on the physical keyboard touchscreen combination. Certainly, with the inclusion of 5G and Android, we can assume that the new BlackBerry will try to keep up with modern smartphones and hopefully improve on things like the camera array on the back, as well as a higher resolution screen. This is still going to be a BlackBerry after all, and it'd still be expected to be a productivity workhorse, so things like an up-to-date chip, a more higher resolution screen, potentially more RAM, and of course a modern camera would be things that would add to the overall productivity theme of the product line. In regards to the actual keyboard, I thought that the Key 2 fulfilled a lot of what was needed in terms of the transition towards an Android-powered BlackBerry, with a lot of the shortcuts that you can customize on the keyboard working well with Android. If we're going to be sticking with the 4.5-inch screen, I'd also love to see the return of the in-keyboard sensor that allowed you to scroll and manipulate the screen by moving your hand over the keyboard. This really allowed for the saving of screen real estate, as having your thumb or finger over the keyboard meant that it wasn't covering the bottom portion of the screen. This was a hit when it came out, and let's hope that BlackBerry might be able to innovate with several other features of the keyboard that we might not have seen before. And also, aside from these specific features, a lot of the current BlackBerry fan base will obviously have certain expectations in terms of the quality of this new device, as BlackBerry has always been known for having well-built phones that last for a long time. The new BlackBerry should be first class in terms of both form and quality, and it will hopefully come powered with an upper to mid-range spec chip and a respectable battery. So let's hope that this upcoming BlackBerry, whatever the form factor and whatever the feature set, will be a successful one. The landscape of smartphones is certainly becoming a little more diverse with the increasing popularity of folding phones. But if you're watching this video, you'll probably agree that there's space in the game for a flagship QWERTY physical keyboard powered BlackBerry device that will hopefully be a comeback for the company in 2021, and hopefully this will usher in a new decade of new BlackBerries for a new generation. So what do you think? Are there any particular features that you'd love to see on this upcoming BlackBerry? Is there anything from the TCL partnership that you wish won't be on the forthcoming BlackBerry with this new partner and third-party manufacturer? Leave a message down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.